start where we left, means the class-based concept only we are going to do. And so let's get started. One sec. Let me also see whether I am live. Okay. Hello all. Hope I'm live on YouTube. Yeah, I'm live on YouTube. One sec. Let me also. Okay. So no problem. So let me also see open it at another place because I want to see the chats or which you all say. Okay, so enough of talk and let's get started. Let me share my screen quickly. And this is what we had done last, and now we are going to go ahead of it. So we are going to do the next topics. So the next topic which we are going to do is known as method as props. So what is method as props? So in React, it is actually a bit easier to send data as props from a parent component to a child component. So like this, in welcome and in greeting, we are sending data as props from a parent to a child component. But actually, it is very difficult to send data in the opposite direction from a child to a parent. There is nothing like two-way binding of Angular. So we have to do a trick which React people also know, and that is sending method as props. And what is that? Let us see. And I have all these things. I have given all the code in the link of yesterday document, so you can get it. And I will remove these things. Okay. So the GitHub link was given. I'll remove this thing because too much commenting is there. Okay. So I'll remove this thing. So that I will remove. Then what I will even remove this thing because we need to do something new. So I will create a new component called parent component dot js, and it will be a RPC parent component support default parent component. Okay, so that is there. Now I'll add this parent component here. Parent component, I'll add it here and save it, and anyway shown like this. Okay, so let us add something in the parent component, and here I'll have a r const like this. Here I will have a parent name is Robin Hood. Okay, parent name is Robin Hood, and I'll have a function like greet parent. Okay, so this function is the greet parent, and what is so special about this function is that there is an alert here, and this alert will show hello dollar this dot state dot parent name, which we have just done. But this greet parent will not be directly called from here, or else it would have been very easy. And see, I am again use the arrow function because arrow function that this keyword is a this keyword is preserved, and we've seen this in previous class also. Okay, so that is it. So it is not that easy. So now what I'm going to have, I'm not going to call it from here. So I will have a child component. I'll have a child component and make it here. The component I'll go child component dot s I'll do, and it is okay to have it as a functional component. We're not going to have state right now there. Okay, so this will be like this, and here we'll have a simple button, and this button will be called greet parent. Save it, and this let me also add it. So this is the greet parent. A simple button is there, a greet parent button is there. Okay, it is not even 100%. Okay, so that is there. So now what I need to have, So the main criteria here is that I want to pass data from the child component to the parent component, which is not that much simple in React. Okay, passing from data in the opposite direction from the child to the parent is not that much easier. So for that, what we need to do, we just gonna pass props like here. So here, first we need to establish a communication. So how we'll establish a communication? Establish a communication like here. I'll come and do a greet handler equal to this dot greet parent. A prop I'm passing known as greet handler, which will in fact call this greet parent. Then I'm passing a props here. So I'll go here and get the props with the props keyword. Then I will in this button I'll have a on click equal to props dot greet handlers, or a props is known as greet handler. So I'm calling that props back. So it means the moment I'm clicking on it, props.greet handler is called, and it is going back in the opposite direction. And this greet handler is actually calling this function. So if I click here, the hello Robin would be shown. So actually I have established a communication in the opposite direction, a pipeline in the opposite direction I have established. But the problem here is that I have still not sent any data. So let us send any data. Okay, so send the data. So how do we send the data? We'll send the data by this. There was a method which I have told that we generally use to 5% of the time, that previous event bind method. So if you want to pass some data, we have to use our arrow function like this. So like this we have to use, and here we pass anything like, so the thing I'll pass like this. Okay, so this is the data which I am passing. This is the data which I am passing, like that a string I was passing in the props from a parent to a child, like app. Okay, I removed it, but now I'm passing this data to the parent. So if I'm passing this data to the parent, how I'm going to get it? Since I'm passing it in the argument, I'll get it in the argument, which is here. So I'll get in the argument here. So let me name it as child. Anything you can name it. So this from dollar child. I will save it, and I will save it, and now I'll do the greet parent. See, from hello Ramroot from sorting. So means I'm passing the data in the opposite direction. So this is how the data is passed in the opposite direction. So that is done. Now method as props is done. So now we're going to see one more thing here. How to use this conditional rendering of a code in React. How to do that? We're going to see that now. Okay. So for that, I'll create a user greeting dot js, user greeting dot js, and create then rcc. Okay, so here for default user greeting I'll do. Okay, so I'll have a r const constructor. I'll have a is logged in is false. A state variable of is logged in is false. So what is this? So you might have gone to a lot of websites in which if you don't log in you'll see hello guest, and if you log in you will see hello whatever your username is there. So in those websites although some logic like this is there, like some login variable will be sent, so we are not going to create that complicated logic, but we are going to see how to conditional render something in React based on that. Like, so suppose here I'm returning two things. One, welcome Bindu, welcome guest, I'm getting both of this thing. Oh, I'm not getting added this thing. Okay, so let me add this thing. User greeting. I will add it and I will save it and user greeting. Both of the things are coming. Welcome this, but I don't want both of the things to come. So if is logged in is false, I want to see the welcome guest. If is logged in is true, I want to see the welcome guest. So how to do that in React? There are 4 ways to do that in React. Hello Makan. So hello Dolphin. Okay, so that is there. So let us go ahead and now there are 4 ways to do that thing. One is the if statement way. So the if statement way is like, if this dot state dot is logged in is there, then I will return this thing. Wait, I'm going to remove this other thing, return this thing, or else return welcome guest. I will return, and I will remove like this. I will save it. See, now welcome guest is coming. If I do it true, no window is coming. So it means that in the React we can use the if else statements, but in React we don't like to use the if else statement. I'll show what we prefer in React. Okay, so this if else statement is there, and so it is but obvious what is happening. If this statement is logged in, it is checking, so it is true, then welcome window is been returned, or else welcome guest is been set. And hello everyone, hello Akshay, hello Vivek, hello Dolphin, everyone. So this is method number 1, and you'll see this in project, not like one statement will be there. There will a lot of statements will be there in the real production projects, not like this. Okay, so but one thing is there, this way of multiple returning is not considered good in React. So the method number 2 is based on the method number 1 only, in which we return only one time. So for that, what I'm going to do, let message I make, and then this message equal to message equal to this is there. Then but where is the return statement now? So the return statement is like this. I will do a message like this. Okay, so there is not much different from the earlier method. Only the difference is I'm returning only once. I've created a variable with a let, and then I'm assigning the whatever the result is in that variable. So if I now have a false here, so I'll have this welcome guest. Okay, so this is there. Now the most common method is not this all these methods and all. The most common method is with the ternary operator. So we'll see what is with the ternary operator. For this I will actually comment this out so that you can have this code. Now here I'll do a return, and this dot state dot is logged in, and I'll have this ternary operator, which Hari might have told you in the JavaScript class, and ternary operator, and then I'll do h1 and this welcome Navin. Actually the if else statement only I'm changing it to this ternary. Okay, or this welcome guest is there. Let's save it. Welcome guest is shown because the is logged in is false. True. Welcome Navin is shown. So how does it work? It works simply like turning operator is basically a if else statement. So it will check whether whether this is, if it is true, then this will be shown. If it is false, then this will be shown. So but the thing is that most of the time we are going to use through ternary operators, and you might be thinking if there are more than one statement. Again, if a statement, if else statement, also we have curly bracket if you have more than one statement, and here we have something like this. If you have more than one statement, we can have a lot of statements here also. So this is how the ternary operator thing works. Now there is one more way. Actually, this is the main way. There is a method number 4, but we should not tell it a method number 4 because it is only a if statement. And how to do that? Only a if statement. I will tell. Okay. Maybe there should be some gap. Maybe I will have it here. return. Now I will again have this dot state dot is logged in, but I will have a and operator. I have an operator and only have this thing. Welcome Nabin. Do only this thing because I cannot have multiple statements with the and operator. This is also known as short circuit operator. So see, if it is true, welcome Nabin is coming, and if it is false, nothing will come. Okay, if it is false, nothing will come. So that's why I was telling it is not actually the method number 4. It is only a if statement. But even how is this if statement working? How is this if statement working? So this if statement is working like and an operator. We all know it checks the left operand and the right operand. But and generally we do it inside a if statement or all. So in if statement also you might have seen if the any one of them is a false, it will not run and an operator. And in this case what happens, and an operator internally works in a way like suppose there are 100 statements. The moment it finds one false statement, it exit out of the thing. Here also, if this thing is false, it will not even go to the right hand side. That is how and operator works, and this is what we take benefit in React. What I'm going to do here, if this dot state dot is logged in is like false, then it will not even check this thing, and that's why we're getting the blank. If this dot state dot is logged in is true, then it goes to the right hand side and then it will be shown. So like this. And an operator also we used in React a lot. We are going to see that soon. Okay, so this is done. Now the next thing which we are going to learn is the list rendering. In React, actually map operators are very important. Okay, so list rendering we are going to do, and I'm going to create a new file, list post.js, and we're not going to have a concept of a state or something. So I am having a functional component. So list post will show us the post. So from where the post I needed to show. Okay. So we are soon going to learn how to hit an API endpoint, like API endpoint like this. A JSON placeholder is a very common API endpoint. This is not a normal site. This is an API endpoint, and this is made through some backend languages. And in this case, it is made through Node.js. You can make it through Java also, and a lot of other things you can do, .NET and all those things. So this is how the internet actually works. The backend engineers give us some API endpoint. This is getting the data from a your a database. Which concept you ask? You're creating concept. Yeah, all this concept we can use in functional component also, and yeah, everything can be used in functional. Only the state concept will get changed. So that state concept I will tell when I am going to tell hooks. Right now our functional component doesn't have state, so the moment our functional component will have a state, everything can be used there. Okay, so that is there, so that we'll see later on. So right now what we are going to learn, we are going to learn how to map through something, how to show a list in a React. So I've created a functional component because we don't need any state here, so that is there. And as I was telling, this is a very common way to get data in the internet, which is like a through an API endpoint, and I'm getting the data as array of object. Again, a very common format, array of object. All big sites like Amazon and all, whole internet means 99 no 100% of internet works like this one. Amazon website you go, you'll get some. I will show fake store API. This is another API endpoint, fake store API, and this products endpoint is there. So Amazon, when you go to the home page, it hits some endpoint like this only. Although we cannot see Amazon API endpoint, so it hits some endpoint like this, and you get all the products because of that. And this is the task of a backend engineer, and a front-end engineer task is to show this product on the Amazon homepage. Okay, so we'll hit this endpoint. JSON placeholder, a very common thing, but we are not going to learn how to do this endpoint, because for that we need to learn lifecycle method and all those things. So that is the last topic in React class base which I'm going to tell. But right now let us just copy it here. So I will have a const posts equal to, I'll take only 3 posts. And maybe I will, they're very big. Maybe I'll make them a bit smaller. And user ID I don't need, so I will remove the user ID. Okay, and maybe this one will be a bit lesser. And I think this much data is more than sufficient, because this is the way in which really we get the data as array of objects. I got that. I have something like this. Now I have to loop through it. So how I will loop through it? So in React, generally we loop through any array through maps. Through maps, we generally loop through everything. So we will loop through this through a map, and here I will just a single statement. So I'll just do a return, and I'll do a post dot map is the most important thing in React, most important array function in React. And that's why we generally tends to get everything as an array. So it is much more better to get everything as an array. Okay, so this post dot map I have done. Then I'll do a post, and this is the map operator. Hope you all know this map operator. This is a ES6 things, lot of ES6 things which you should know to start with React. I'm not going to tell them, those are already covered in our previous courses. Okay, JavaScript courses. So that's why JavaScript is a must to be here in React. Okay, so this post I'll do, and maybe I will show it here only this time. Maybe I'll show it in H1. I will show something like in H1. I'll do post dot title. So why map? Because map, if you in the map you send an array of length 3, you get array of length 3 only back. So this post I can name it anything. So I'm only showing the post dot title. So all the title I'm going to show, I'll save it, but I need to show it here also. List post, got it, save it, and see, I'm getting all the 3 titles here, because it is looping through each one of the when it is looping through this object array. First it will go to this object and it will get the post. So this post is each one of the object, post dot title, post dot title, post dot title, all the 3 post dot title it got. So let us see one more thing here in the inspector. If I go in the console, I got a very big error. It's not a warning, but it's an error. But my program didn't broke, but it's an error. And the error is saying each child in a list must have a unique key prop. Actually React is very performance oriented. So what happens, React expect us to provide a unique thing for each iteration. With the there is a key thing is there. So here each of them should be unique. Most of the time when some data come from the backend API endpoint, so what happens, I will get the ID always. That's a responsibility of a backend engineer to provide us the ID. Actually, when a data has been stored in the database also, there is some random characters is been added. Like a MongoDB, it will definitely add ID. Oracle will add ID. SQL will add everything. Add an ID. And backend engineer responsibility to provide an unique ID which each of the things, because in front end engineering we need these things. Okay, so then I'll do a, what is the unique thing here? Unique thing is ID. ID is 1 2 3. So I'll do a post dot ID. I will save it and let me hit and let me refresh it, and it is not been shown. So this is like this. Okay, it is there. Now we're done with this. But in real world scenario, like the real world data, we want to show more data. I want to show all the 3 data, and generally we don't do it in this component itself. Generally we pass the single object to a new component and then we show it. So pass a single, will create a new component known as post item.js, and here I will again have a RFCE functional component, because anyways we don't need a state again. So here now what I am going to do here I will call this post item component, post item. Anyways, post item component I will call, and yeah, it is imported also, and you have to pass the key, but I will pass each of the post equal to post as a props. I'm passing it as a prop. Post equal to post I'm passing. So I'll go and then I'll go here and I'm getting a props. Maybe I will destructure it here itself with the post. Then I just have to show it. Okay, so I just have to show it. So I'll come here and h1 as I want to show everything. Like h1 will be a id and it will be a post dot id. Title is a maybe a h3 post dot title which I have here, and in a paragraph I'll show the post dot body. I'll show, let's save it now, and this is already saved. I'll see all these three things like this. Okay, so that is what how we render in the real world. So the next topic which we are going to learn is the styling React component. So the basic way to style a React component is to write a normal CSS. See, this is an app.js. I have an app.css, and this app.css is a normal CSS. But there are some other ways to do this, and there is a little bit difference from the HTML. We're going to see that thing. Okay, so I'm going to do all the styling in this post item. Okay, so let us do in this post item. So as I've told, the most basic way is to show it through the your CSS, normal CSS. So I will do a post item dot CSS. So I will do here import post item dot CSS. First thing is that we have to import it like this. In app.js also we are importing it like this. First thing is that we have to import it. Then I will add a, maybe I'll add a div here, div, and class name equal to container, and this container, I'll go here and do a dot container, and background color is this blue. Okay. Some padding and PAX, some margin bottom 5 pixels. This is working fine. So this is the first way to do it and the normal way. So now the second way to do it in React is by using inline styling. So inline styling we use in HTML also, but inline styling in React is a bit different from what we use in a normal HTML. The first way for doing inline styling is that I will have a const header style. The style I'll have, one sec, I'm audible. Okay, header style now equal to like a object kind of thing. But actually it's not an object, so this object kind of thing I'll do, and then font size maybe 22 pixel, comma background color is yellow, comma padding is 5 pixel. So this is like this. I'll come back to this, but how to use it? So we have to use it through the style tag. Sty add style equal to, in this I have to pass this header style like this. I will save it and see now this yellow background and the font size and the padding, all those things have been done. But and this is how the inline styling are given. But there is one very big thing difference is there. First thing, it's an object. First thing, it is an object, and the second thing is that see, it is just an object. In a normal CC, if you go, it's actually not an object because you are having these semicolons, so it's not an object. Object always have key value pair with commas, not semicolons, so it's a proper object. And the other thing is that here I'm using camel casing. So see the background color have this dash in a normal CSS, but here background color is a camel case. So that is the another difference. Another difference is that in the right hand side, if you see, every time I have to take a string, it is always it is necessary to take a string. Even if a padding is 10 pixels there, I have to take it as a string because that is a property of your JavaScript. Means objects have the property that if a string is we need to take it as a string. This is not a number actually, but in CSS it is okay to take it like this 5px. Okay, so like this. This is the second. This is the thing which we have to do. And now the other thing is that we generally use inline styling a lot in React, a lot in production project we do, but we generally don't create an object like this. What we do actually, if you want to do it like this, you can do it. But most of the developers do like one thing like I should tell. So like what they do, this instead of writing a constant on something here, I can actually just copy this thing and just put it here, and it is the same thing. It is not even giving me error. And the only thing which I should do is to have it in the same line. I will reduce one thing, background color. Maybe I will make it light green. Is that a color? Yes, it is a color. And generally we should have it in one line only and not even in different line. So that's why you should not give more here, so it will not look good. Okay, so like this is there, and I'll save it. And this is the same thing. So this is how it has been shown. Okay, so this is another way. So there is actually another way to show styling in React, and that is through something known as style component. See, styling in React or HTML, CSS, JavaScript project, or any project, any big project, it's a very big difficult. It's a difficult thing because once you work on production project, you know that CSS is like a global. If I make some class like this dot container here, this dot container class can be used in some other file also. So CSS is generally global. It creates a lot of challenges in a big production project. So how to make CSS attached to this thing only? So there is something, there are different ways to do that in React. The most popular way is to do it through something known as a style components. So something known as style components are there. Okay, so this is a pattern which is very popular in React. This is known as JS in CSS, JavaScript in CSS. Okay, so maybe I'll make it a bit bigger. So now this is a third-party library. In React we use a lot of third-party libraries, so this is one of them. Okay, so I have to do the installation here, and installation I'll do. And here, as they're telling, I have to do it installation through this. So maybe since it is already running, I will do a control J here and open my terminal here and add it like here. Okay, so dash dash save is not required, so I'll do a npmi. So what is the benefit of style component? First benefit of style component, it will containerize your code. So it will contain in a container, means it will not go inside. If I add some style in a post item.js, it will stay in the post item.js. It will not go outside. First benefit is there, and there are some other benefits are also there. So npmi style component I'll do, and then we'll do some other things from their examples only. It is not looking good. Okay. Yeah. So how to use this style component? So to use this style component, let us see their example only. And their example, maybe I want to give the style to this paragraph. So I will first they have forgot to mention one thing: import style from child components. I'll do okay. Black diamond. So it is not sufficient to know only a bit about HTML and CSS. So this is very advanced stuff. After HTML, you have to know not less but a lot about HTML and CSS. And then the next thing is that you have to know a lot about JavaScript. So JavaScript is also there on our channel, and no, you cannot start without JavaScript, React. Just see, all these things will be like a different language. If I am tell you, JavaScript is very much required. How you'll know what is this thing? This is the arrow function. What is the function? First of all, what is a function? And you should not go that much deep in JavaScript to learn React. So that is one more thing which people should know. JavaScript is very deep. So if you go deep, you will go deep inside it for 2 3 years. So it is not like that. We also don't teach too much deep JavaScript. So we teach the exact amount of JavaScript which you require. So go through our JavaScript course which was done in previous week. So don't learn way too much JavaScript, but don't learn way too less JavaScript. Also, there is something specific in JavaScript like ES6 which is required for React, which is a must for React. ES6 is something which you should know. This keyword you should not go much deep. Older kind of prototype JavaScript you should not go much deep. All those things are there. So we teach the right bind of JavaScript. That's why our student get so much good in React and all. Okay, but you should know a bit level or mid level of JavaScript. Don't go too much deep in JavaScript and all. Okay, so styled from style component is there. I've done. So now how to use it? So here, suppose I want to do this paragraph. Give this style in a paragraph. So I'll do a const style para equal to style.p, and I have to do like this style.p, and this is a backtick. Okay, this is a backtick, and maybe I will do this thing. Okay, so now what happens? I'll take this style para and replace it with this p. So one thing to notice is that dot p is there. Okay, style.p style, I'm converting it from here. I'll save it. Now go back and see the color was changed. So the text line center and the color got changed. Okay, this is a bad color, dark purple. Okay. So dark purple is not a color. So whatever is, so purple I have given here, and see, one thing is that this is not a like a object. This is like a proper CSS. Proper CSS I'm writing here. Proper CSS I'm writing here, and this is how it runs. So this is just how you can do it. But some people must be wondering, okay, it is, and as I was telling it, it will contain the CSS code. It will contain the CSS code because if I right click and inspect it, you see one thing. This it adds some random class here. So this class it is adding here also. How it does that they have done. So this class is very unique. This will not go outside this component. So that's why the CSS become contained in this thing. Okay, so that is there. Now the other thing here is that this is not the only reason we should use the style component. There is one more reason is there, and that reason is like, I'll take this example itself. Okay, so they have given a very good example. Let us think that this example. So here I'll having a button. A lot of time you'll come across situation in which you have to create two buttons. They are exactly same, only they're opposite of each other, or maybe a bit of here and there. A lot of times it will happen. So what happens is that a lot of code is same, only a bit of code is different. But in normal CSS you have to create those style two times, but not here. Here, see what I will do going to do. Again, this is style dot button is there. So I'll come here and paste it here. and save it. Now get these two buttons. So how these two buttons are actually different and all. Okay, so now what is happening here? Let us see what is happening here. I'm again doing the style dot buttons that is there. Now in this button, normal button, I'm not passing anything. So here it will go. And one more thing, in this style component, styled component, what is happening? There is something known as props, but this is not a React props. You should know this is not a React props. This is a style component props. So props, I'm doing here props and props dot primary. It is asking that if there is a props dot primary is there. If it is not there, then make the background as white. In the normal button, the background is white. Color also same thing. Color, if props dot primary is not there, make the color as pale violet red. Color as pale violet red. But if a props dot primary is there, see in the second thing I'm passing a props, but this is a different way to pass a props. Primary I'm passing it in different ways. Props dot primary is there, then it will be pale violet red. Okay. So in the second case I'm passing this, so that's why the background is pale violet red and the color is like a white color. So this is like that. Okay, so that is there. So this is the major benefit of style. Good practice to, which is the good practice to write style. Anything which your team is when you go to a big project. So there are some ways, like one of the these style companies also use a lot in production projects and all. So that's whatever is there. Some people use SCSS and all, so that you do when you go to some thing. Okay, so the next thing which we are going to learn is a very important thing, which is known as a control component. So I'll close this thing, control component. It is known as a control component. So in JavaScript also, or in React also, or even in Angular and all, you will go. There is one thing which is actually very, very important. And that thing is like how to create a form. Forms are one of the major thing in a web apps. That is the thing which differentiates a web apps from a simple WordPress site which is just showing some templates and all. So because anything you go, anywhere you go, forms are there. You go to Facebook, when you register first time, you enter your data, forms is there. Forms are mainly used to take the user data, then you log in, you have forms, then you post the content, you have a form. So form is everywhere. So but there is a different way to create forms in React, and we are going to learn that way. So first thing is that here I will create a new component which is demo form.js. Demo form.js I'll do, and rcc I'll do, and export default demo. Okay, so this demo form I'm showing. Now let us create a form here. First we need a constructor also for this, our const and username. Now we'll have a form. Then I will have a div because I want them in a different lines. So I will have a div. Then I will have a label username. So what is the HTML form which I have just written? So those who know HTML, in HTML what happens? There is a for is there in the label. The for is there in the label which is associated with the ID of a input. So we cannot have for in React because for is a JavaScript keyword. For loops I'm at the end of the I'm using a JavaScript function, JavaScript file. So I cannot use a for here. So this is another difference in JSX. So React team has came out with this HTML like this. HTML for instead of the for. If you see in the browser, it will show HTML only. It will show for only. Okay, we'll see that thing. Okay, then I'll have a input text is text and ID equal to username and see here what happens. The value equal to this dot state dot username. We have to do it like this because the value will come from this. Okay, in a React. And save it, and it will have this username. Save it, and I will also inspect. I want to show one more thing here, that this it is coming now. This is too small. Okay, too small, so it is not showing. So this the HTML for is changed to for. Okay, so that is okay. So maybe I'll make it as a big. Okay. Okay, so one more thing. So now I have this thing. So let me try to type something here, but I'm not able to type anything here. Although I'm showing that this dot state dot username, but I'm not able to see anything here. So why it is happening like this, and what is the reason? So see, in React, what happens? One sec, I will show it with a image also. I will come back to this image soon. The thing is that it is not showing because the state is not getting updated. And in React, the return, whenever the return statement will rerun, when some state is getting updated, then only the return statement will rerun and we'll see the update set. Right now what is happening, the state is not getting updated. And to solve this issue in React, what we need to do, we have to have a on change handler also. On change handler, which will be equal to this dot handle user change. This dot handle user change is there. So I will go here, handle user change equal to e. So we get a e always, e or event, you can say anything like that. And then I'll do a this dot set state is username is e dot tar get dot value. Common thing with e dot target dot value, you can get the whatever the value is. Okay, e dot target dot value is there. So I will save it. Now the thing is that I'm able to type anything here, and it is also actually getting reflected. I'm able to type anything here. So why I am able to type anything here? So I'm able to a sec. Okay, so I'm able to type anything here for a reason, and that reason is this. See what happens here. The moment I type something here, like I type the n here, I just type my first letter n here. Then what happens? This on change handler means that whenever some change is there, it is always listening. So on change handler will fire, and this will go here, and this e dot target dot value is n. So username will become n here, username will become n here, and when username will become n, because of this dot state was run, this will come to the render, because whenever this dot set, whenever we change the state with this dot set state, the render get rerun, which we have seen in the earlier yesterday's class, which we have learned in the yesterday's class. So this render will rerun, and when this render will rerun, as it is shown here, it will come to this value. This dot state of the username is now what, n. So it will be shown. Okay, so it will be shown here. So this is how it runs. This is how actually React the is this run, and that's why it is known as control component. So if you want to have something more also, we need to do it like this only. So maybe I will have another one. Okay, So let us say another one, div of label HTML4 comment, and you see we have to do the same thing, and then comment, which will be a, not like this, which will be an empty string. Okay, empty string again, and label is like this, and then we are going to have a text area. Text area. So a name we don't require. Okay, name is something which you don't require in React. It is only required in HTML and all. Okay, so ID will be comment. Actually, I don't want this calls and rows and all, and ID will be comment, and again we have to do the same thing here. Like this, there have to be a value, but this value is like this dot state dot comment. On change is this dot, but this will be different, this dot comment change. And then what we need to do here, handle comment change, and this will be comment, save it. So this comment is on, maybe I should, I'm not doing much of styling here, so maybe, but I should have a BR here. So again I will be able to write anything here. This is a comment and it will work like this. Okay, so this is there. So let us see one more complicated thing, and I want all of you to do all the other things, like you should do radio boxes, check boxes, and check the code on the internet. But we'll do one more a bit complicated thing. Text editor was exactly like similar. We'll do the drop down. We'll do the drop down. So I'll do BR, and I'll do a div, and in this div I'll have a label HTML4. It will be language is language, and select. I don't need the name again, but I need the ID. ID will be language, and again we'll have the same thing like this, value and on change. Value and on change we are going to have. So this value is this dot state dot language. On change you have to give a different name here. So maybe I'll do a lang change, it is okay. And then I will have different options here, because select always have options. So I will have a option here, and value, maybe value is react value is react native, react native. Value is angular, value is angular. Value is view, is view. I'll save it, and it will be shown react. By default it will show react, but we did not did two things. One thing is that I should have this lang change, but even before that I didn't use it here. So language, but I'll not give it an empty string, I'll give it as a value. By default it's showing the first thing, maybe I'll give it angular. I'll come here and give it a angular. Save it. See what will happen, angular is shown here. But one more thing I needed to do is this handle change needed to be done. So this handle lang change will be there, and this will have this language. Now we can also change it to anything else. Okay, so that is done. Now all the things are done, and please do radio box check boxes on your own. Okay, now what we are, those that are a bit different, everything else we are unable to see. Lower side of the code, which lower side of the code you're talking? you're able to see everything, Vivek. Okay, so I'm seeing it on my screen also. You're able to see because I'm seeing it on my video also. You're able to see. Okay, so that is there. So I don't go much down because I know my face is there. I don't go much down. Okay, so that is there. Now the thing is there. Now what we are going to see, but we are going to see how to submit this form. How to submit this. So we are going to have a button here. Yeah, and button, and this button I'll have a submit. Submit. I'll have. Okay, I'll have a submit here. Now this submit, as with any other button, we are going to have a type of submit, because generally in a form we have a type of submit. Okay, type of submit that we'll have. Okay, so like this we'll have. Now a form, as this React form, we generally have a on submit handler. On submit handler, it's a different thing. On submit handler, we can call any function here. This dot maybe handle submit. This dot handle submit I'll have. Okay, and this handle submit, I'll call it handle submit here. Again it will get the e here, and if you do a console log of this dot state, actually will get everything, because this the state will contain everything. And I'll save it and I will do inspect. And in real case scenario, what happens, this after we get the values from the user, the main thing of a form is to get the values from the user. We pass it to a backend from here itself. We'll see that kind of code also. Okay, so okay, no, nothing, there was nothing to my left. Okay, so that is there. So now what is there, this dot state I'm doing, I'll save it, and then I will write something here. It's good. Angular, maybe in, I'll change it to React, and then I will submit it. It came, but it gone. So this is not a React issue. This is a JavaScript issue, because by default, what happens, everything is like in a browser. This is coming from the old tech. A browser generally refreshes whenever we have a button with a type of submit and all. After submitting anything, it refreshes the browser. Okay, so when it refreshes the browser, it's a bad thing. Not only in React, it's a bad thing in JavaScript world also. It's a bad thing. Okay, so what we need to do here, a simple thing which we do in JavaScript, which is like e dot prevent default. E dot prevent default will do, and save it, and then now I have submitted and I'm getting all these three things, and this is how we get the data. Okay, e dot prevent, with that I will get the data. Yeah, okay, so that is there. Now we're done with this thing. We're going to do one more thing here, and actually there is one more way to submit a form, or to not only submit a form, to get a data from the user. We have seen all this way, like state way, this dot set state and all. This is a very React thing to do, like doing with this dot set state and all. Okay, how to and where to store submitted data. Submitted data will be stored in a database and endpoint and all, and this is not a backend course. Okay, so but we'll see some endpoints, definitely we are going to see, and that is the purpose of a backend engineer. Most probably you are not going to become a backend engineer. Backend engineer is a totally different thing. Okay, so generally backend engineer only provide you all those things, like endpoint, JSON endpoint and all those things. So that is their stuff, to store it in the database. That is a different domain. altogether. Okay, so that is not a thing of a front-end engineer. And there are full stack engineers, and I also teach to become a full stack engineer. But the thing is that in even a 5 people company, the backend engineers are different and the front-end engineers are different, and we'll see how to link those things. Like we'll see how to link a backend engineer. The thing is that a front-end engineer receives a endpoint like this from a backend engineer. Only this thing they will receive from a backend engineer. They have to show the data. They don't have to worry about, okay, this is stored in a database, this is stored in a blah, this is stored in a this is stored in that. They don't have to know about all this. And that there are some post endpoints. This is a get endpoint. There are some post endpoints also will be there, which is the backend engineer will provide you. The post endpoints they will provide, and that post endpoint you can submit something and it will be stored in the database. Okay, so that is like that. In 99% of the companies, backend and front-end engineers are different. 99%. Only 1%, very small company, like a 2% company is there, or a 1% company is there. Then the backend and front-end are same. But sometimes it's okay to know Node.js. That is something which we generally teach also on the channel also. So you can refer there. So okay, so enough of it. There is this. Let us quickly do another topic, because we have a lot to cover, and generally we don't have a class. We don't have a class on Wednesday. We now have a class on Thursday and Fridays. Okay. So one more thing, let me do, and else I'll forget it. Okay. So it is the attendance. Okay. So another thing is that there's something known as refs. So this is the state concept. But sometime in React, what happens, you need to have access to the DOM. See, if you are I want everyone to know JavaScript before coming to React. So JavaScript, we do a lot of DOM programming we do, and that is something which was taught by us also. So in that DOM programming, what happens, we get access to the DOM level thing a lot. Like and DOM is actually having some more access than React. So sometime when React came in 2015, there used to be a very less in React. You have to always write some libraries and all, so to get special accesses and all. Okay, so there is some pattern known as refs, through which you can directly get access to DOM, and that is a different kind of a programming in React, which even the Facebook teams tell us not to use that much. Only use it as a last resort. Okay, only use it as a last resort. Okay, so all those things will be explained on Thursday. Okay, life cycle methods and all. Okay, so because we're coming towards the end of this class, so this is that is refs. So we are going to create another thing like a, so everything will explain. Okay, refs demo dot js, refs demo dot js I'll have, and here I'll have a rcc again. Refs demo I'll do. Okay, so here refs demo I am doing. I cannot provide the first day attendance link, so please watch yesterday's recording. The first day attendance link, you can get it from there. Okay, so we cannot provide it today. First day attendance link, you can get it from there. So that is there. So I'm showing this refs demo. So now this is actually a different way also to do this, getting the data from the user. This, but Facebook team tells using a special case in which you need some special access of the DOM. We'll see that also. So for this, what we are going to do here, I'm again going to have a r const, and but this time I'm not going to have a state, which is a major thing in a React. We are not going to have a state. I'm going to have a different thing, and that thing is known as this dot input ref, or maybe what I'm going to do, I'm going to convert this two thing. Okay, this two thing I'm going to have. these two things I'm going to have. Even we are going to have this button also there. Okay, so now as I've told, the concept is totally different. So first thing, I will not call it a input ref, I'll call it a user ref equal to react dot create ref. And this is a different concept than the state which I'm telling. So and maybe I will have this handle submit also here, but there is no concept of e.state. We are going to come back to it, what the concept is there. So here what is happening, this user ref, it will create a deep link anywhere. So this dot user ref will create a deep link. Now I can use it here, and I don't need to have all this big logics like values and all these things. I just have to have a ref equal to that this keyword is there, this dot user ref, only this much I need to have. And again here, so this I will call it as this dot comment ref equal to react dot create ref have. Okay, so comment is there, and again I don't need all these things, all this logic, all this cycle logic also we don't need. Okay, so just a ref equal to this dot comment ref. Okay, like this I'll have, and then I will save it, and then I'll come here and write anything, window, and I can write anything. So you see, I'm not even having that logic here. Okay, this is React, so I cannot. But Facebook teams tells, okay, don't use it like this. Okay, this is not a good idea. If you have some use case, then only use it. Okay, so that is there. But how now? How to get the data here? Data from here. The data from here is generally get through CLG. I'll have this dot input ref dot current and dot value. Yeah, it's a lot of name, but this is how we get it. This dot input ref dot current. The current is a keyword here. Current dot value and current dot this dot comment ref dot current dot value. And if I save it now, this is submitted. Remove this thing, submit it, and I got comment ref. What is happening here? Okay, type submit, this should handle submit. This should come actually. Comment ref. Let's see whether this is coming. Okay, current is undefined. Let's see this thing. What is there in this? Did they change something which I don't know? The start input ref is undefined. Okay. Okay, maybe we'll revisit this tomorrow. Okay. You're right. Okay, and there's no input ref. Actually, this is user def and dot current dot value. This dot user def dot current dot value. Thanks, Dolphin King. Okay, so yeah, so it will come anyway. So I think, and this dot comment ref. Actually, it was giving error in that only. These are comment ref dot current dot value, and this is working. And submit and see the code is quite less than this demo form. A lot of them you have to use a handle submit and you have to use these things. So I've seen a lot of people like this kind of a code with the refs, but there is one more benefit which I will actually tell tomorrow, because there is something which need to be tell after the life cycle methods are being told. Tomorrow the first topic which we are going to do is the life cycle method. After that we'll add something to this code, and we're going to see why we are going to use that thing. Okay, so why sometimes refs are required. Okay, so with this thing I will end the today's call, please. And those who are not subscribed to the channel, please do subscribe and tell to your friends and all. We are going to have some very very big topics in the coming weeks and all, so we always have. So this weekend we are planning to have a, like every month we have around 10 hours long uh, 1 day boot camp. So again, this Saturday we are planning to have. So stay tuned, stay with our groups and all. If you are from a WhatsApp group, stay there, stay in connected with me on LinkedIn and all. You'll get updated for all of those things. Okay, so with this I'll end today's stream. Thank you all for attending, and I'll see you